Good morning and welcome to today's webinar where you are going to be hearing how to start a new career and control your destiny by becoming a customer experience or CX coach. You are going to be hearing from our Chief Revolution Officer, John DiJulius. Before we get started, just a few things. You are able to communicate with us one of or two different ways. If you have any technical difficulties or anything really speaks to you that you want to share with the group, go ahead and put that in the chat, which you'll find on the bottom middle of your Zoom screen. And if you have any questions that you would like John to answer live at the end of his presentation, go ahead and use the Q&A feature also located on the bottom right of your Zoom screen. I just want to let you all know as well that after today's webinar wraps, you will be receiving a follow-up email that will include a copy of all of John's slides, as well as the copy of the recording. So you will have access to both of those once the webinar has finished. And now I'm going to turn it over to John DiJulius.
Thank you, Lindsay, and hello, revolutionaries. We'll get into it. Who the DiJulius Group is, we're the world's leading authority on customer experience, been in business close to 25 years. I have written 5 best-selling books, all on the customer experience. And over our work with many world-class customer experience companies, we have developed a methodology that organizations from all over the world have and continue to use to just build a world-class customer and employee experience. Other brands that we have is the Customer Service Revolution, which is a conference that we put on every fall in Cleveland for about 13 years. The Customer Experience Executive Academy, that's kind of a master's degree for a customer experience that we have run once a year, 4 quarters every year. And we have 25 executives, chief experience officers or chief customers officers attend. And then most recently, we started CX coaching, customer experience coaching, which this webinar is all about. And like I said, we've worked with some of the best brands all over in literally every industry possible, business to business, business to consumer, manufacturing, government, you name it. So this methodology works. I want to explain to you kind of what the difference between what the DiJulius Group offers and what CX coaching offers. The DiJulius Group, as I said, we consult with some large organization, Fortune 1000, 100 million and bigger organizations. And we have consultants, and that is the biggest part of our business. Something that we haven't been able to serve is smaller companies, 25 to $100 million. That isn't a market that the DiJulius Group really has been able to offer or service. So that's why we came up with CX coaching, customer experience coaching, that can really target that and offer them a simpler model to follow, because those companies usually don't have as big of an infrastructure that consulting usually requires. And then, as I mentioned, we have the Customer Experience Executive Academy. So that could get confusing. What's the difference between CX coaching and Customer Experience Executive Academy? Well, again, we're going to go into CX coaching, but I want you to make sure you know if you're in the right place. The Customer Experience Executive Academy is for our corporate clients to send their current or future chief experience officers, chief customers officers, and that's where they really get educated so they can be that expert for their company. CX coaching is for someone who wants to start their own business and be a coach and use our methodology as a turnkey system. So one still is working in corporate America. The other one is wants to be an entrepreneur using this methodology for clients. So if you're still in the right place and you are someone who potentially wants to be an entrepreneur and coach businesses on customer experience, let's continue. Everyone's talking about if we're in a recession, if we're going into a recession, well, the truth is we've been in a recession for 2 years, a customer service recession. And it's critical. And this is what makes what we do so important, right? The past 2 years, sales and demand have gone up with the, endemic spending, but service has gone down. Since the start of the pandemic, customer satisfaction has been sinking like the Titanic. Let me go back here. Sorry. So for American Customer Satisfaction Index just reported that this is measuring customer satisfaction in all industries, that we have just hit a 17-year low across all industries as a result. So why is customer experience deteriorating so fast since the start of the pandemic? Well, I'm sure you already know it. We have employee burnout, low employee morale, high employee turnover, staff shortages, reactive poor hiring, lack of customer service training, supply chain issues, and we're not managing customers' expectations. And all that is frustrating our customers, our clients, our patients, our tenants, our guests, whatever we may call them. And I'm sure you've been on the receiving end of this as a customer yourself. So what's really key is the top 10% companies in all industry that provide superior customer experience just crush not only their industry, but they crush like the S&P 500 over time. I mean, by significant margins. So this is why customer experience is so important. This is why you get the buy-in from leaders, CEOs to invest in changing our customer experience. This right here, it's a smoking gun, right? Every business leader, board, you name it, wants higher sales, right? They want growth and they want return on investment. And that's what this is. So the companies that will dominate the next decade will be the ones obsessed with evolving the experience they provide to both their team members and clients. And that's why the DiJulius Group, we are having our best year ever in our 25 years of business. 2022 is our best year ever for this reason. So that's why there's such a great opportunity in CX coaching and becoming a CX coach. Something I like to do for people that, my employees and existing and potential coaches is help people find their ikigai. Ikigai. Ikigai stands for a Japanese meaning of finding your calling in life, finding your purpose. And there's 4 things that have to intersect in order to find your ikigai. Okay. The first thing is you find something that you absolutely love to do. Okay. But that's not it. Just because you love to do it doesn't mean you're great at it. A lot of people play golf often, but they're not great at it. Right. So if you find something you love, but that you can't be great at, that's a hobby. So you got to be great at it. A lot of people are great at stuff, but they don't necessarily love it. If you find something you're great at, but you don't love to do, that's a job. Okay. So find something you love that you absolutely can be the best at, that you could make a great living at. And then finally, that will make a positive impact on the rest of the world. And that is how people find their ikigai. And that's what we want to do. Mark Twain said the 2 most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. We want people to, really have passion for the, being a customer experience coach and the change they can make in so many organizations and employees and customers' lives. So successful coaching business criteria. You got to have a passion for the content. I don't care what. If you're going to be a coach, a life coach, a coach in any subject matter, you got to have these 3 things. 1, a passion for the content. In our case, it would be the customer experience content. Number 2, you have to be a great entrepreneur and sales, which is kind of the same thing, where you got to be a self-starter and you have to make and create things to happen. That is one of the hardest things, especially if you've worked in corporate world. Doesn't mean you necessarily have to have been an entrepreneur. But you have to have that spirit, that go get 'em spirit that just has amazing resilience and perseverance. And then finally, you have to have a fantastic blueprint, a methodology. And the cool thing about if you become a CX coach is that's what we provide. You don't have to worry about that. We provide all the training and turnkey systems. So the mission of CX coaching is we want to be the leading customer experience coaching authority, transforming businesses worldwide. Our purpose is changing the world by creating a customer service revolution. And we have a definition for what the customer service revolution is. It's like my national anthem. It is a radical overthrow of conventional business mentality designed to transform what employees and customers experience. This shift produces a culture that permeates into people's personal lives, at home, and in the community, which in turn provides the business with higher sales, morale, and brand loyalty, thus making price irrelevant. And that's what we like to do. We like to help our customers make price irrelevant. Okay. What that looks like is based on the experience your brand consistently delivers, your customers will have no idea what the competition's charging because they're not out price checking you. Okay. That is really our competitive advantage, right? That customer service revolution and helping companies not have to compete in price wars. They compete in experience wars. That's what people love about the DiJulius Group and CX coaching. So I talked to you about our methodology. We have 10 sessions, workshops that our coaches do over the course of 2 years with their clients. And they don't always go in the exact same order. Sometimes it depends on what the need is, at this specific time. But they are all spelled out, but this is what an example could look like. Immersion's always the first thing. Then we got the customer experience vision statement. And so this is kind of a template that sometimes, like I said, we may, pull zero risk. You see it in year 2. We might have to pull that up in year 1 because they are not handling, they have too many customer challenges and they're not handling them well. So zero risk is a workshop you do just with their leadership team and you help them create service recovery systems. 1, to reduce them from happening, and 2, how to put the fires out when they happen. All right. So a lot of people ask, what is the difference between a coach and a consultant? Great question. The main difference between coaching and consultant is that coaching pulls out the answer from the clients, while consultants tells the clients what to do, right? Consultants come in and say, this is what you need to do. Coaches let their team, their leadership team they facilitate a workshop and let that leadership team come up with it. Consulting's doing it for them, providing them answers. Coaching is using the tools to help them come up with those answers. And a coach facilitates, gives direction, and should not be dependent in between sessions, and sessions happen quarterly, right? So when the CX coaching model means that you are on site with a client and their leadership team once every quarter. Okay. And so a coach should, the workshops are done so they don't need much from you in between the workshops, which is really, really important. So you're freed up to take on more clients and have a better quality of life. So successful entrepreneur model, coaching models, your target clients demographics is 5 million to 50 million. And like I said, we literally, our coaches can have and do work in any industry. And the greatest thing is the DiJulius Group has, since we've been around for 25 years. So when our coaches has a client, in the mortgage industry, we can help them with a lot of stuff we've done in the past. Okay. So first thing happens is you have a CX Coach Camp, which, as soon as you register to become a customer experience coach, you have to attend a 3-day coach camp where it teaches you how to become a successful business owner, how to run the business, sourcing and closing leads, marketing and sales, delivering a world-class client experience, to the client, right? Dynamic presentation skills. One of the things that our coach camp we do not do during those 3 days is we do not teach you much about the methodology, because as soon as you register and become a coach, you get access to this CX Coach online portal, which has so much. It's mind blowing, but you actually learn the education from the portal. Okay, we teach you about running the business, but the portal has so many things, and I'll just go through some of them. Right, so they have the education calendar for coaches. They have the CX coaching one sheets, right, that you send out. You use sales and marketing resources, case studies. It has videos of each of our sessions. We have 10 that you do. You can watch videos of me and my other consultants literally presenting this, so you can learn it with the slides that, and scripting. So when you're leading up to doing a presentation for a client, a workshop for a client, you can listen to this on your iPhone in your car. You can watch it, and it correlates with the slides you'll be using. Also, the pre-work that you send out to your project lead clients, that what they have to have prepared before you go in for the workshop, as well as post work, once that workshop is done, what they need to do after you leave the building. The facilitator's guide for each session, a facilitator agenda for each session, so you know where you need to be at by what time, what slide, what exercises completed throughout the day. And then, the other things is slides that you're going to use when you're presenting to the client. Every session has its slide, and the agenda that your clients get. They don't see the detailed agenda that you sneak at and keeps you. This is what they would get. And again, these are rough times. Sometimes they don't start at 9. Sometimes they might start at 8. Sometimes they might start at 10. The CX Coaching online portal is just a wealth. The client workbook that they will need to follow. And then there's also some templates, a P&L template, a sales tracker lead. And I'm probably not even scratching, 15% of what the CX Coaching online portal has. It is a turnkey system for any coach to run with, but you also get our help. So you get the CX coaching community, right? It's passionate other CX coaches that we get together quarterly, every quarter for training in Cleveland. We get together once a month for a virtual call for an hour just to talk about what's working. So we have those quarterly education. You get included with your CX coaching license a complimentary ticket to our Customer Service Revolution Conference, which is 2 days. This year it's November 8th and 9th, 20 amazing speakers, but it also brings you together. And a lot of your clients will come, and it just really fires them up and you up with more cutting edge customer and employee experience. In the beginning, you can get weekly community training calls. During your first 90 days, we teach you about the multiple revenue streams. There's books that our coaches sell. There is obviously their workshops that they sell. And there's a few other things. Referrals from CX Coaching Global. Referrals, the leads that come into us, we send out to our coaches. You get a case of books of the Customer Service Revolution book that you send out. It's one of the best lead gens to secure clients. So I want to give you some case studies that you'll be able to use until you start creating your own that really help, close deals. Here's one that we did with the New Day USA. It's a mortgage company that serves veterans, military veterans. Their biggest issue each month was 15% of their veterans, potential customers who were already approved for their loans, were opting out before their loan was closing, which they call VOOs, veteran opt-outs. And every 1% of a VOO was costing New Day over $400,000 in revenue. a huge, huge problem. So here's what we did. After finding out what the primary cause for a VU was, which was a lack of weekly communication and updates by their account executives, they stopped communicating with them after they got approved. We helped New Day USA create a system that ensured every veteran was communicated with at least once a week, actually every 5 days, providing certainty and a reduction in anxiety. And as a result, New Day's monthly VUs percentage went from 15% to 8% in a few months. That was a reduction of 7%, which meant an increase in over $2 million in revenue each month at no additional expenses to advertising and marketing. So you could just see that example, right? When you share that with people, a cost of a coach is insignificant when you could move the needle on something like that. One more case study I'd love to share with you. Worldwide Express is a shipping company, and they could not outsell high customer attrition, meaning they were losing 19% of their existing customer base per year. So they had to actually increase sales by 20% or more to handle losing 19%. So we helped Worldwide Express transform into a customer service culture by launching their service vision statement, improving their consistency at every customer touch point, building strong customer relationships that we're not predicated on being the lowest price, and have a service recovery protocols in place when a customer was unhappy. Basically all our methodology, right? And this is the results.
So there was a key point in time where we hit about 80 million in sales, and we were growing fast, but we hit this point and we couldn't grow because our attrition rate was so high. We had 19% attrition, and we just couldn't outgrow it. And
customer attrition, right?
Customer attrition. And my friend here said, listen, let's get John DiJulius involved. So I met with John, and he told me about all of his customer experience programs. And I said, listen. He said, listen, why don't you try it out for a year? I said, we're going to commit to 3 years right now. And I turned to every single person in my company. I said, we are committing to a 3-year program, because that has to be the difference between us and the other 10,000 people who are out there selling our customers. So we hired them, and in 18 months, our attrition rate went from 19% to 3%. Our sales went from 80 million to 120 million.
Love that, right? That's the impact that we can have and help companies grow and help their employees, have outstanding careers. And so, that's what you're going to be able to share and eventually have those case studies as a CX coach. So revenue opportunities, right? Each customer experience coach can set their own daily rates. We help, we can give you some guidelines, but you're an entrepreneur. You get to set your own daily rates for your workshops. The process is typically 2 years, right? With a client, approximately 5 sessions per year. All right. So that's 10 sessions over the course of 2 years with each client you get, right? One client at a rate of $3,500 a day, and that's probably a low end, right? A $3,500 a workshop is equivalent to $17,500 a year. Okay. And that's that. So that's what that looks like. So this is what it could look like. Session 1, you do immersion, quarter 1, or, whatever quarter 1 is, whenever you start with them. Then you come back the next quarter and you do another session. All right. This is just an example. The 4th quarter of your anniversary year with a client, you always do 2 back-to-back. Session 4, and then there's always an annual strategy session that piggybacks it, that revisit what you've accomplished with them this year, what their victories are, what they still need to get to, and then plan the following year. So that's kind of what one a year could look like with one client. Now, let's look at the revenue opportunities. So let's say you get 10 clients and you're charging $3,500 a day. You have 5 annual sessions with each one of those clients. So that's 50 days you are working with clients. Annual revenue, your annual revenues can be $175,000. Some, we have a coach that has more than 15 clients and he's charging more than $4,000 a workshop. So you can see what his or her annual revenue is. And then, you could see when you're crushing it at 20 clients, charging $5,000 a day, you're working 100 days with clients, right? 100 days a year, and your annual revenue just in your workshop revenue, there's other multiple revenue streams, is $500,000. So, and it's great quality of life, right? Session days, 100 days gives you 200 free days, and at least probably 65 days where you're working on, your presentation, getting ready, sales, building your pipeline, closing that. So that's kind of what, the quality of life aspect is very attractive for successful coaches. So the investments, we have a one-time licensing fee of $15,000 up front. And then there's a $750 monthly membership fee that's just ongoing to access to the CX Coaching online portal, the support from the DiJulius Group, which we call CX Coaching Global, the monthly calls with all the coaches, the quarterly 8-hour on-site workshops where we bring all the coaches, and your access to the customer service revolution. And our next coach camp is September 27th and 29th in a few weeks. From this thing, we are offering $2,500 off the initial licensing fee if you sign up for the September coach camp. So how do you get started? Well, you reserve your spot at the next coach camp in September. I think the one after that is going to be in January. So if you're interested, act now. Once you reserve your spot and pay your licensing fee, you get access to the CX Coaching online portal, and then you attend the next coaches camp. And you contact Lindsay at her email there, or schedule a call at tdd.click/CXC. And the one last thing I want to leave you with is what our mission, the DiJulius Group CX Coaching Global, is for our coaches. Okay. And we take this very seriously. We want you to make more money than you ever thought possible. However, we want you to feel that the money was the least valuable thing you receive from being part of this brand. Okay. We want you to make more money than you ever thought possible. However, we want you to feel that the money you made was the least valuable thing you received from being part of CX Coaching. All right. I don't know if there's any questions. I'll throw it back to Lindsay to wrap up.
Thank you, John. Yeah, it looks like we are all set with no questions. So we are good to go. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll send the follow-up with the slide deck and recording. And please let us know if you have any questions.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.